Welcome to Will's World, your will overall, powered by Third Gen Physical Therapy and Sports Science Institute.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing today, man? Great day to be alive. Great day to be here. Hope everybody had a great holiday, as well as hope everybody had a great week up to this point. So, if you listen to me, man, we're back again. Obviously, this is episode 3 of the new year, and thank everybody for still being here, still pressing play, still following along. If you notice, we've changed a few things, with the podcast, the visuals, changed a few things with also the intros and stuff like that, tweaking things. So, with that, man, we have a new type of energy. And I'm glad that everybody is, able to take part in this and people who have gotten us to this point. We appreciate you all. So, with that being said, let's hop into the episode. In today's episode, the title of this episode is Your Gift is Not Yours to Use, but Yours to Lose. And that is, again, something that I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and he said this, and he really charged me with it, more on the front of like, hey man, like your energy, that you have, you need to share that because it's conducive to helping people, and as well as his journey that he took, and how him and I crossed each other paths and what it did for him. So he really charged me with it. He was like, it's not yours to, to use, it's not yours to use. And I was like, what are you meaning? And he was like, it's just not yours to use. It's yours to lose. Like, it's not your gift. You can't pick when you want to use it or not. That's not how that works. It's something that you were given. So you have to, quote unquote, obey, like, and make sure that it's in the forefront of what you do. So when he said that, I was like, okay, man, all right, this is something I need to discuss because I think a lot of us walk around and know that we have this thing, that we're capable of doing, something that we have that we can't explain, like, hey, I can really do this well. It doesn't take much for me to do it. And I don't understand, why that's the case. And then we kind of sort of, just let it go away, I guess, or we don't pay attention to it, or we don't obey our spirit. So in today's episode, we're going to tackle this particular topic in 3 pieces, as usual. The first part would be your gift is not yours. The second talking point would be you can lose it. And the third is you must obey when your spirit calls, right? In the world of energy, I believe in energies. In this world, the way the world is moving around, there's a lot of negative energy. There's a lot of energy that's fear, that's being used to be able to control people. And I think that that's something that we tend to not, realize that we have to counter that with positive energy. And as a result of doing so, it balances everything out, but also it keeps you going. Um, I really think that when you're considering, you know, your quote unquote impact on people, I think that a lot of us don't realize that things we say, things we do, um, things we don't do can be a big help. And they can also be a detriment too, but can be a big help. So when I say your gift is not yours, I know it sounds ridiculous. Your gift is to be given to the people who need it, who need its impact. It's just kind of what it is. If I can use an example, in my life, I enjoy mentoring young people, or I guess I'll say helping young people. And I tend to help them, in different ways. You know, um, one part is through training in sports. Another part is through giving them opportunities with jobs. For them to learn how to actually work a job. Not just punch a clock and come in. But actually work a job. Like actually understand like how to get skills, how to run a business. And also have students who are in PT school that I teach, how to become a better therapist, and I have students who are interning who are trying to get hours. I'm not going to say I impact them all. Some of them do not have the the focus or probably the energy necessary to be able to continue on the path or the reason they found me. So a lot of it is probably not an impact. A lot of it is just trying to give them an ideal of, kind of what's a good way to approach things. So with that, I can't really pick and choose who I, impact or talk to or approach. But what I have noticed, I do have a lot of young people that I come across with that have really benefited from it. And they share certain things. Like the first episode for the new year of this podcast, that was given to me by one of the younger guys that I've mentored for a while. And him and I had a great conversation. And, he was very reflective, said some things that made me realize that, you know, being able to, have an impact on him really helped him. So, and for me, I enjoy the actual result of it for the person. I don't really care about the validation of someone recognizing what I'm doing. I don't care. I've had a great life up to this point. Ups, downs, in betweens. I've had disappointments, highs, lows. So, but I've been at the top of the mountain and at the bottom too. So I don't have anything I'm living for in the sense of, hey, I'm doing this so I can live through this individual. No, I'm just really just sharing my actual journey and trying my best to lift them. So with that, my gift is not mine. I think that the thing I do well that helps me to be able to make sure I'm not selfish is I try to bring a positive level of thinking. I probably believe in a lot of things that I'm doing that a lot of people think are outrageous, and that may be you too. And that's a good thing. If your dream is not big enough and people, look at your dream and they can't believe it and stuff like that, then that's kind of what you want. You want to try to go for what you feel, and maybe you're actually out here having conversation with people and realizing that your impact can be more of a tangible thing. Your presence, that can be something. So recognizing your gift and realizing that it's not yours is important. What do you do that is actually something that that, like, hey, I didn't really practice on this. This is kind of sort of something that just kind of fell in my lap. And then how does that help, you know, people, or how does it help society, or how does that help in general? With your life, maybe that's just what you do, and actually you living and doing things with your gift, just breeds positive things for you, which indirectly affect others, stuff like that, right? The second piece of this is that you can lose it. Your gift, your passion, and your purpose can all be different, right? So you have a gift, that's something. You can have a passion for something that maybe not even totally within what you're gifted to do. That's fine. And your purpose, can be all different, or they can be one and the same. The hardest part is recognizing those. So I'm not going to take you around the journey of trying to figure that out, right? But I'm just saying, like, if you will know when it's almost like, you know, things, in the sense of people say, I mean, how do you know when you see this thing? Like, well, you'll know when you see it. Like, it's not going to be something I can tell you how to view it, but when you bump into it, you'll know. You'll be like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I'm great at. This is what I really love to do. This is what I'm passionate about. But this is my purpose. I use myself as an example again, fully transparent. You know, my purpose, I believe, is to impact others. Um, and get them to the place they're trying to be, not pushing them, but holding them accountable as I can and being honest. And that's the youth, in my opinion. And then my gift is to heal people, through my practice. So, yeah. But that's my purpose, is to help, my gift is to heal. So, and through my practice, what I mean is not just me putting my hands on people, but also mentally impacting them positively to be able to push this way, you know, but my purpose and my gift are different in a sense. That makes any sense. It sounds complex, but it's really not. And you can lose your gift and still have passion or your purpose. Like my grandmother used to always, say to me, something as simple as, well, in short, when you're going through certain things, whatever, the world does not care, right? And once you enter the environment that you're going into, you have to leave what you're dealing with outside that door, because it's people who may see you, who may naturally need your energy just as much as you need their energy. So sometimes just the presence of you and understanding that when you have the ability to be able to push through things, you should, because that helps others to be able to also be better. And then for you to be able to get through your day and get to the things you need to accomplish that are going to help you be able to process the other stuff later. So, in essence, you have to obey your spirit, right? When your gift is present and you're trying to use it, you have to obey your spirit when it's needed to be done. Like I'm always in a situation of trying to, pray for clarity in the sense where I can get understanding and guidance. I don't believe to have the ability to be able to know a bunch of things. I don't. I feel like I'm given the ability to be able to have some level of, you know, humbleness to be able to ask, what do I need to do? What's the next thing? You know, how do I get through this? How do I process this? Am I wrong? And if so, then, how do I correct it? So when I'm pushed to do those things and execute certain things or be involved in certain things, I may be something that I'm not even with. I'm like, I'm kind of with it. And my spirit says, no, you kind of need to be here for this. You need to do this thing. You have to. You got to make that phone call. You have to send this email. You got to send this text. You need to check in, you know, with this person, and different things. All right, you need to be present here. Need to do this. You need to make sure that you're aware that this is important. So just the same focus, when you recognize what your gift is, what you can do, that no other person can do around you, but you can do it with ease. When it's time to use it, you have to obey it. Like when your spirit says, "Okay, do that now." You have to do it. You know when it happens. It's your conscience. It's your gut. It's like a pull. Oh my goodness! You're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to hear this lady have to say nothing. I don't want to hear this person complain. But in truth be told, that may be the thing you have to do that day because that's your gift. Like you're able to take that and hear it, push out the trash, and then respond appropriately. They may not even want to hear what you have to say. They may totally reject it, but you just had to do it because maybe that's a domino that pushes something down the road to trigger them to do, something that could help them later. So in totality, man, like we are really gifted people. We have a lot of things that we are blessed with to do. And last but not least, it's a lot of things that we should do. And if we don't do it, we're going to lose it. You know, the man above will take that for sure. I mean, it's not it's not something that you should take lightly. Like you're given that gift. So you don't realize how blessed you truly are when it comes to kind of how you're maneuvering through your life, you know, to be able to get just from point A to point B to point C. Sometimes you can't explain it. A lot of time, your obedience is what got you through that, and that's a blessing within it in disguise. So if you're in a situation now, man, that you're trying to figure out, what your gift is and stuff like that, don't really just dwell on that too long. Just keep living, and it'll find you. You'll know when you see it. You'll know when you feel it, and then you just act on it. And then from that particular point, man, you just have to obey it because you don't want to lose it. All right. That's why me podcasting, this is part of the gift. Through my practice, this is my gift. So I'm having to be obedient to it and be better with it. Although I've done 100 plus episodes, like it's still not enough. I have to do more, right? Because if I don't, man, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here, just not really being obedient as I'm charging you all to do so. But hey man, thank you for everybody who's listened. Thank you for everybody who's been pressing play, sharing, liking, subscribing, all those beautiful things. And I really appreciate everyone who supported us and me during this particular journey. And hopefully you stay here with us. And if you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, man, you can always, comment, on the podcast. We have it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just hop in the comments, say something, give us something, and if not, cool. Just keep listening. And we hope you have a blessed one. And I'll catch you in the